Okay, everybody, and welcome back to Higher Density Living here with Jason and Alexander. And I just want to share with everybody, we have been remote for some time, but we have locked down a brand new studio, and it's going to take us a little bit to get that thing built up, but it's going to be the next phase in evolution of our educational podcast series here on Higher Density Living. So I wanted to share that with everyone. So if you like the vibe better when we're back in the studio, don't worry, we will be back before you know it. So, Jason, I've been really worried at night, tossing and turning in bed. See, here in New Mexico, we're in a dark sky community. Mm-hmm. It's one of the darker states in the United States, and it's just been rattling my brain about alien abductions. I'm like, they seem to be so prevalent. And you had come across this quite hysterical piece of research, infographic, to be exact, online. Could you kind of tell us here, Jason, what we're looking at?
Yes, it is the GISP, and you'll explain that in a second, Risk Assessment for Alien Abductions. This is from the GISP community. It is based on, here's what it says. It is based on this highly scientific studies, findings, and then it helps you avoid precautionary steps, but it gives you a detailed map of exactly places where there have been alien abductions. So what Mr. Alexander, what is the GISP?
So from what I understand, the GISP stands for Global Invasive Species Program. And they have a slogan, let's stamp out invasive species. I don't know if these are the individuals that actually put this publication out, but that's the name that is currently resonating here on this GISP alien invasion document. We'll get down to brass tacks on it later.
So anybody with the GISP, a leader in the GISP, we'd love to have you on.
Because I guess in a sense, they are an invasive species, right? But they got this big, they got this big, their logo has this big Orwellian boot for let's stomp out invasive species. Oh my gosh. So can we just clarify something first? What is alien abduction? Okay. Sometimes it's called an abduction phenomenon or alien abduction syndrome or UFO abduction. It's really a phenomenon of people reporting what they believe to be the real experience of being kidnapped by extraterrestrial beings and subject to physical and psychological experimentation. So when I look at this GISP, risk assessment, nothing strikes in my mind but fear. These are all the hot spots for probing and having my body pulled apart and reassembled by little gray men. And what's interesting about this is that the highest point of these alien abductions, with a 99% confidence level that you'll probably be abducted there, looks like it's in Phoenix, Arizona, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, Miami, and pretty much the entire Northeast on the seaboard of the United States, and a little bit of Detroit. Am I off with that?
No, I think you're 100% right. He ran a worldwide database of more than 80,000 UFO sightings, and then he optimized hotspot analysis in ARC-GIS Pro. And this is what we do for a living. So we deal with data.
We literally deal with data. And so the first thing I want to talk about here, it's 80,000 sightings. And the hotspots are in major cities. So what that tells me is that the data is naturally inflated because there's more eyes to see the UFO, correct?
Yes.
Duh, right?
Yeah,
there's
you're gonna have
16 million people in New York. That's obviously going to be a hotspot for sightings because there's going to be more sightings occurring. Now, if you talked about strictly how many abductions occurred, well, that's a completely different story. That map wouldn't have the same hotspots, which we are actually discussing here. So
yes, 100. Yeah, you would have to take and rate each abduction based upon truth. Yes. like you would take the far out ones, and the ones that said cats came and abducted them. and then anally probe them.
That's,
for 10 hours straight, and they loved it. You'd have to take that person out of the picture, and then, and then take like the true abductions, or the people that believe that they've been abducted, truthfully.
Yeah.
And then, have a rating or scale of those. And then from there, put each of those, if you had 80,000 abductions, then put that on the map, and you'd get a true picture of the data.
Yeah. And what's interesting here is a lot of these hotspot sightings around major Air Force bases. So are they legit UFO sightings, or are they just far advanced craft? Like people in the 1950s would have seen the SR-71 Blackbird and been like, that's a UFO.
They look like UFOs even now.
Oh, they're incredible now. What was
flew low over you?
Oh, no, thanks.
I had what's the Batmobile looking one? I mean, the Batman looking one. Is that the?
I don't want to say B2.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I was on a lake fishing, a rural lake in Washington State. It's called Rife Lake. Very beautiful. Looks like something out of Alaska. And I was on a boat out there fishing, trout fishing, and one flew over really low. One of those. It scared the shit out of me. Like, because it was quiet, and then it was quiet, and then it kind of got loud, but it was really low. And so it just came out of nowhere. And then I look up, and then you're not expecting to see this huge. They're big, like really big. You're not expecting to see this huge black bat wing. After I saw it and kind of got onto it, then I was like, oh my God, that's so fucking cool.
Yeah, big flying triangle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that would be a sighting.
Well, that would, if you had no context as to what this thing is, zero, you'd be like, that's a UFO, right? But what I find interesting here about this infographic is that they also drag it all the way out to Europe, Central America, the Caribbean, Canada, and the northern part of South America. I think that these cold spots, we got to break that down here. What are they talking about with the cold spots? Because why is Canada one giant cold spot, but the United States is the only thing that's one big giant hot spot?
Yeah, it is interesting. Is it because culturally we've attuned to accept it, or do we have, like, do the aliens know we have the best nuke? I mean, we're realizing that now.
Correct. Cold spots are the areas that aliens are methodically sampling at this time, but not actively studying. I don't even know what the difference between methodically sampling and actively studying is.
Oh, yeah, I see it right here. He has a little chart on there. GISP locations, cold spot, 99% confidence.
Okay, so why are the GISPs, whoever these people are, why should they be in these areas, like, proceeding with caution?
Yeah, I don't understand why you would need to proceed with caution anyways. Like, so reality, let's get back to reality.
Yeah,
reality is majority of these sightings are advanced aircraft. We've already heard of a lot of UFO sightings in Ukraine. We know in World War II that Germany had tons of experimental aircraft, and we probably did too. And there were sightings over London and different areas of Nazi military aircraft. So majority of sightings is going to be, as you said, military bases with military experimental aircraft, or things that they don't want us to know, because we're in an arms race constantly.
Correct.
And we can see this now with what's happening with Ukraine and Russia, how scary this can be. You have one man who's isolated himself even from his own generals, and at any moment could push a button.
Yeah, and he has total Russian expansionist policy. And from a culture, we've talked about the gulags before, but the Russians have a very tough mindset. Yes. Do you think they're worried about the country starving? Not one bit. They're worried about pushing themselves down into the Middle East through the Balkans and getting control of the oil down there, because they know if they can control the petrodollar, they can control the United States. It's a massive power play. But then
he's not thinking about the metaverse or anything about that. He's thinking about liquid gold.
He's talking about liquid gold. And he knows that if the United States keeps selling arms to the Ukraine, there's going to be a problem. Everybody knows where everything comes from. It's like if I get a Winchester rifle, who's manufacturing that?
Yeah,
Winchester Arms in the United States, right?
No matter where.
That's a beautiful Abrams tank. Where'd they get that from? The South Africans? No.
Well, yeah, we're throwing those. We're giving them those missiles systems. That you can set them up really quickly, and then they're tank busters.
Yeah.
So here's the thing that gets me. And Russia has a shitload of alien. We've done several episodes. We even did a whole episode on Ukraine sightings. So now you have countries that have highly developed aircraft, experimental aircraft. Why is there a correlation with seeing UFOs?
Every time. We've seen it since the earliest days here in New Mexico when we were doing our nuclear testing and our early radar technology. UFO sightings increased dramatically around areas of high tech. It's not that you're hiding it. Everything gives off a specific radio signature. So, for instance, if somebody has like a suitcase with like a nuclear device in it, or plutonium or uranium, 236 or whatever it is, or 238, we have satellites in our upper ionosphere, probably a little bit above that have the ability to scan the Earth for specific radioactive signals. And you can track that stuff with 99% confidence that somebody has a nuclear device anywhere. So if you have a species that's millions and millions and millions of years more advanced, first of all, they're going to be able to spot any of our tech from across the galaxy. And then the second aspect of it is, why would these species give a damn about abducting human beings? What do 100%. They care? Think about how this develops. We have robotic surgical technology now, right? So if I got robotic surgery, the doctor doesn't have to be in the room. We keep taking steps with our technology to continually remove ourselves from actually having to be there. So why is it that I have to run some sort of physical analysis when I can do everything through an energetic analysis 80,000 feet up in the sky?
Yeah, you can go to Scottsdale now if you have the money, and they can scan your whole body.
Yo, tell me more.
Yeah, they scan your whole body. They can see if you have any. These CEOs and everybody's doing this all the time. These were rich people. You can go there and they scan your whole body. They can tell you if you're going to get cancer, if you're going to have this or that. I mean, they scan your liver, your spleen. They scan all your organs, and then they can give you. And these, I don't know that much about the scanners and how detailed they are, but I do know this. People pay shitloads of money for it, and it's supposed to be a preventive measure. And so this is the thing. There is no way in hell that aliens are going to want to physically take the time or the energy, they're advanced millions of years, to come down here. It's like, how often do we go to the jungle and grab a monkey?
Yeah, do you just bare arm the thing and like try and hold it down?
Thousands of times? Is that thousands of times? I mean, we have monkeys in our labs and we use them for research and studies.
Yeah.
If they're millions of years advanced ahead of us, they have every species logged into their cloud, and they can run experiments in the cloud on the physiology of the body.
Synthetic cloud experiments.
Actual human. We're getting to that point.
We're getting to that point. We're getting to the point where we're starting to understand genetic algorithms.
Yes.
I don't have to cut anything open. Think about how mRNA vaccine technology is. Yes, it's been around for some time, and yes, some people rush some stuff out the front door, but we're talking about using genetics, understanding code within genetics without even having to touch the body. These are vaccines that were sent out without any testing, just strictly on computer models and everything else. So that's where these things are headed. And listen, if by the time 2100 comes around and I'm, I don't know how fucking old that would be, say 120 years old or something, 110 years old. Think about what that technology will look like. Think about what medicine will look like. Think about that Scottsdale scanner for everybody. You know what I mean? Like that's the hospital every week. You walk through the thing like at the airport that's looking for metal on your body. It's like, that's what you just walk through real quick. It's like, oh, that guy's got like probably 2 weeks left.
So if they're advanced enough to get their craft to successfully be here, go galaxy, successfully be here, I'm pretty damn sure medically They don't need to put a surgeon gown on, get some scalpels out, some anal probes, and go to town.
And why would you even want to touch our dirty, bacteria-ridden bodies? They're probably sterile with everything they do.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Imagine what we must smell like to another advanced species. We could probably smell horrific.
Horrific. Yeah.
You know, who knows how they perceive that? Yeah. So it's just like gross, dude. And so the comical nature of this GISP risk assessment, and I think this is a huge foundation of why Jason and I are sharing this. This sort of information is all over the internet. And we want you to look clearly about the fact that the data can be skewed. People use this for attention to make their own little groups like the GISP look important. And then again, create a state of fear. If extraterrestrials wanted a state of fear, they just laser the Earth to death if they really wanted that to occur. The vast majority, from what I can tell, because we're here existing, and the entire human population hasn't been abducted or killed or used as some sort of reptilian pet, that these people are in service to others, that they respect your free will and other creational laws. And so when we look at this sort of data that tries to strike fear in you and say that these are spots you should avoid, all these other things, live anywhere, do whatever you want, be in the places you want to be, and don't assume that aliens are going to come down because of some bad infographic online and rip you up into the sky with their anti-grav technology. So when we come back for our next episode, part 2 of the GISP risk assessment for alien abduction, we're going to talk about tips for avoiding alien abduction from what they have said here in this report.